we don't eliminate the carbs, because that's the problem with straight keto is you don't get the performance benefits. Plus, you don't get the adaptive stress you need with keto, because it keeps you on such a low level that you can't get that adaptation in training to signal to your body it has to get stronger to build the metabolic capacity you need to perform better.
Yeah, no, that is not sustainable. And I always clarify with my patients or who I talk to, this is not keto. You cannot.
You got to kind of like say it to them a dozen times.
I know, right?
Because what happens is what we're doing, and I say we because you're one of my athletes and collaborators in this, right?
Yeah.
What we're doing is so innovative. There's no frame of reference. One of the problems I see with the high carb camp is they always talk about carbs for performance, which is no disagreement between you and me, but they always forget and avoid talking about the unintended consequences of what is literally consuming massive amounts of sugar.
Right.
Like I did a calculation the other day based on it's the standard advice.
Yes. For
training, a 6-month lead up to an Ironman, a full Ironman. If you're training like 12 hours a week and doing the high carb thing, it amounts to basically, and conservatively speaking, so 2 gels an hour, blah, blah, blah. So 200 calories an hour of carbs during training, more during racing. Conservatively speaking, that's 155 pounds of sugar.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And we're not saying eliminate that. I'm saying, what if you can get rid of a third of that? Instead of 155, that's a 55-pound bag of sugar you're eliminating.
Right.
That's not a big one.
Yeah. And I wish I could remember, like I kind of keep track of my carbs when I race. I would say I do a 70.3, maybe 300 to 400 grams of carbs. That's including my Ultima, no, not my Ultima, my Tailwind, all that stuff. And I don't take it all at once. It's like a little bit at a time. And of course, on the colder races, it's higher. On the hot races, I eat much less. But to me, that's incredible when you say 2 gels per hour. I mean, I've seen that with Ironman, 2 gels per hour. Imagine your poor gut.
The pros are taking 3 or 4.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I mean, they're recommending anywhere from 80 to 120 grams an hour for
of carbs or
carbs for racing situations in ultras and triathlons for the pros. I mean, they're putting out that kind of energy, but it's like that can't end well.
They're young, maybe they can support it for now, but they will eventually not be able to sustain that.
But the impacts are huge, right? It's like if you can get away with 10 or 20% less and get the same or better performance, which I know is attainable by optimizing that underlying fat metabolism, it's huge. But just for the average person who's wanting to do triathlon as a sport, to do well at it and to be healthy, it's like, looking at that 155 pounds of sugar in a 6-month lead up.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. And I'll do the math and get that.
Or I've got a couple 46-year-old women who were sent to me because their ovarian reserve was low and they both got pregnant. And Paul says to me, how do you do it? I say, there's science and then there's nature. If you correct the nature, the root cause, give them, what they need, it's going to automatically correct the system and do what they're meant to be. Paul's theory is you got to be healthy, happy, and horny.
There you go.
Because that's what he says all the time when he had a sustained Institute for Health. That's what he would tell people.
Yep.
And it's true.
One of the things that our human hubris tends to forget is that science is there to help us understand nature, not to dominate it. And we some scientific insight comes out and all of a sudden we think that's it and we can dominate it.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because one of Paul's and my challenge was, how do you put Eastern medicine into a Western box? And so it took us 4 years or so to get it published. How did we put it in the box? Well, we looked at hormones, right? And that was the key, okay? And that showed more pregnancies, fewer miscarriages, more take-home babies, and fewer multiples in some age groups, right? Because the woman is supposed to have one healthy baby. So in ancient China, I mean, that's been around for 5,000 years. You never saw research on anything because you know what? You put the needle in, pain goes away, it works. You don't have to do a scientific, it's, what do you call it? You call it, there's a word that you call it by getting a result from not scientifically, but I forget it.
It's anecdotal.
Anecdotal, but there was another one that you sent me in the email. But I mean, that's kind of it. Of course, now in China, there are all kinds of studies coming out on IVF and pain and that kind of thing. But you know, in that era, we didn't have to do science to know that something worked.
What we do when you focus on your fat metabolism versus carbohydrate metabolism, you're getting your body back to where it's building that metabolic capacity to where, hey, if things are suboptimal, whether it's for social reasons, enjoyment, or just you can't do it, it's not a big deal. Right. It's not, you can't keep doing that forever.
No.
But it's not something you have to get all like, oh my God.
Doesn't have to be perfect. You can miss a workout. And I think that was my biggest message. Yeah. With this whole knee injury in Finland. And I'm thrilled that I got it.
It's a great thing. So
it is. Yeah.
Any other things you can share with the audience about your journey that can help them on theirs?
Oh gosh. When you have the tools, and this is where we educate ourselves. When you educate yourself and you have the tools, you don't have to give up what you love. You don't have to roll over and play dead, and know that you're going to be okay. Because I think sometimes the first accident or something happens and you think, I'm done. But you get through that, and then another little tweak happens, and then the knee happens, and it's like, oh, it's okay. I know that I can get through this with the tools. So your point to educating people, proving that the way we're all living may not be the way we should be living, is key to our journey in health and longevity.